Howdy everybody, Guthrie Trapp here again, coming to you from East Nashville, Tennessee. I know it's been a while, man, life takes over and just stuff gets crazy and I haven't been able to do a video for a while, but I'm back in business. I want to keep some fresh stuff coming out. Lots of stuff I haven't covered yet that I want to go over in a bunch of different areas. So thanks for all the support again, guys. Spread the word, and of course I gotta say, check out the links below for everything going on musically with me and stuff. You can check out lessons and all that stuff. But today what I wanted to do was I wanted to go over a little tone lesson. People have been asking about that. You know, I get people asking questions about speakers and tubes and picks and pedals and all that kind of stuff, and I just wanted to go through a little bit of some of that today. This is not going to sound studio quality because I do these little YouTube videos. So far I've just been using my iPhone to do those, and until I get set up with some more professional equipment. But so, you know, what I like to talk about, especially with gear, is, you know, the gear is just a vehicle for us to be able to express ourselves. It's, you know, I just want to have gear that works and inspires me to play, and to where I'm not limited by its limitations. You know, I want something to where I'm not worried about, oh, is it going to play in tune up here, or is that buzz going to happen right there? Your gear has to be good, but it's not to be obsessed over to the point of going like, oh man, I'll be so much better if I just get that new guitar or that new pedal or that next, you know, amp or whatever. It's really not about that at all, and it can be such a distraction from learning what the ultimate goal is in all this, is just to be able to express ourselves and make music. So that's my spiel on that. Now, do you have to have good working gear and good pedals? Absolutely. Good connections, good cables, good everything. Of course, all that stuff is going to just, you know, we want to get to the point where we can just forget about the limitations of our gear and be able to rock on, right? And it's just professional. If you go to a gig or a session here in Nashville, you're really expected to have really good working gear, good sounding gear. So as you get more developed in your career or whatever, that stuff all, you know, it goes with the territory. So to get back to this, so I'm a pretty traditional cat. I like a pretty simple setup. I like something that's pretty versatile. I like reverb, so I tend to use a lot of Fender amps with reverb. I'm using an old Princeton here today that has a 12-inch speaker in it. It's been modified a little bit to have a 12-inch speaker, so the baffle board looks new, but the amp is actually old. It's a 1966 Fender Princeton reverb, and due to being on the video here, I've got it down at a pretty low volume. I don't use any digital pedals, and I don't use any pedals that have memory banks or digital readouts or any of that kind of stuff. I'm just not good at that, and I'd rather have something a little simpler. I got a rule: if it has more than 4 knobs on it, I tend to shy away from it because it's just more to look at and more to be questioning. Hey, is this set right? Is it not set right? I like to pretty much be able to plug and play. So what I do is I usually run the volume and the tone all the way up on the guitar until I see fit to change something. And of course I'll use the front pickup, the two together, and then the back for certain things. And I got a Telecaster here too. I'll pick that up in a minute. But I basically like to get what we call like a bass tone, a foundation tone out of the amp, as if no pedals are on at all, which I don't have any pedals on at this point or engaged. And unfortunately, on this video, until I get some help over here, I won't be able to show you exactly what this pedal board looks like. But I'll tell you what I'm running right now is a Boss tuner into an exotic RC booster into a vintage Nobles overdrive that's been rehoused by Exact Tone Solutions here in Nashville, a T-Rex Tremolo into the Strymon Brigadier delay, and then I'm using the one spot power supply, and it's all been put together by Exact Tone Solutions on a nice board with nice clean connections and everything like that. Super professional, right? Those guys do a great job. So what I'm doing here, I'm getting a nice bass tone out of this amp. And so what happens is, a lot of guys I see they'll have their amp set really, 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 really low on a gig or something, and then there'll be their compressor, which I don't use a compressor at all. Their compressor will be super loud. They'll be using their pedals to get all their volume, when really, to me, you want to be able to have a nice tone for rhythm and single note playing and stuff without any of the pedals engaged. So that's what I'm saying. You get a nice foundation tone out of your amp, where I'll usually on a gig or something, I'll turn this amp up, a Fender amp, up to around at least 4 to get it going. And the thing about it is you want to have an amp to fit every room size that you're playing. So if I'm playing a tiny coffee shop or a session, I'll take the Princeton Reverb, because I can get a pretty good tone with this amp at a not scorching volume, right? So if I'm playing a little bit bigger club, so the amp volume stays the same, 4.5 or 5 for me, and then if you're playing a little bit of bigger venue, you take a deluxe reverb, still crank it up so you get the tube compression and the nice tone and reaction that you want out of it, the feel of it. And then a little bit bigger venue, maybe take a Vibrolux Pro Reverb. You're playing outside, twin, super reverb. So you can move the air you need to move, determining or that determines the size of the venue, or the room determines the amp that you need. So it's not about, if you took a twin to a coffee shop gig, you'd be playing it on 1.5 and it wouldn't sound that great, because the tubes aren't really working that great yet. You're not pushing that air and that power that you need to. So that is a question I get all the time. Man, I can go buy 1 amp, what should I get? I'd say get a deluxe reverb, because that way you can pretty much cover as much territory as you're going to be able to cover with an amp of that size. And another thing I'll mention too, while we're on this subject, I know there's going to be a lot of talking on this for a minute until I get to play in here, but another thing about that is guitar players are notoriously getting in trouble for playing too loud. Oh man, the guitar's too loud, the guitar's too loud. Well, what it is what I was talking about a second ago. It's not that we want to play loud, it's the fact that we're trying to get that feel and tone out of our amp, and that's where we end up turning it up. So if you have a small amp at the right gig, or the right amp at the right gig, you're going to be able to get that tone out of a smaller amp, and to where people aren't telling you to turn down. If I took a twin reverb or a super reverb to a small club or a coffee shop, I'm going to be blowing them out the windows in that place. So that's kind of the deal with that. So with this, I can get a nice clean tone for single note playing. I have no pedals engaged at this point. I'm just playing. If I go to the middle pickup, I get that kind of. Nice little rhythm tone, right? Just that nice kind of tone. So if I'm going back to the back pickup, I get, any pedals yet, but I still got enough tone coming out of the amp, right? Okay, so moving along, I'm going to play, I'm going to add in, I'm going to go right down the line, I'm going to go from the amp sound, I'm going to go right into my RC booster now. So here you get a little bit of this. I'll show you what that sounds like. If I need a little bit of that, here's a chord. Now here's what the RC booster on. You can hardly tell it's there, but it just adds a little bit of girth to your tone, right? It's not overdriving it crazily. can tell if you were at one of my gigs or something and I hit that, you really wouldn't be able to tell that there was this big dramatic change. You want everything to be kind of sequential. So it goes amp to your first little boost, then to maybe your next overdrive, and so on and so forth. You don't want your tremolo to be adding a bunch of volume or taking away a bunch of volume. You just want it to be, nice, you know. And so just nicely, a nice little incline on when you're adding stuff. Because otherwise, if you start, if you get to that point of soloing, and your gain's up and all that, and then you turn it off, you're not going to have anything there. It'll just be back to an amp sound so quiet that you won't have anything there to work with. So it's nice to be able to turn everything off and get back to that nice, rhythm, kind of clean rhythm sound. So going here, I'll turn this off again. Here's the middle pickup. Just a little boost. Now here, you can tell it does, especially when I'm playing a little harder. It does add a little bit, right? So going from that, now I'm going to leave the RC booster off. Now I'm going to go to the Nobles and just click that in on the back pickup. You get an idea of what that sounds like. So here's just clean. This I'm going to have to turn up just a little bit, turn up the volume a little bit. So you can tell it gets a little more rock and roll. So it's getting a little more rock and roll. Right, so we're getting to that territory. When it goes to the, now I'm going to go to the middle selection. So playing at that little softer pick attack, I'm able to clean it up a little. So the harder you pick, the more you're going to get out of it. Of course, a lot of it has to do with the right hand. That's another great lesson. I'll go to the front pickup real quick so you can get that idea. Might add a little bit of treble to that. Pickup. Now let's go to the front, to the back pickup again. And again, I'm using my volume and tone all the way up, you know. And I've got my bass switch, it might be able to come up a little bit. I didn't want to get too harsh on the iPhone. And then the reverb's at about 3, right? I like reverb. So that's a nice clean tone on the back pickup. Now I'm going to add my tremolo into this mix. So I've got nothing on now except just the amp, the reverb from the amp, and the tremolo. So what you don't want is you don't want it to be too fast like this helicopter. That's a little too fast for me. Let's add a little depth to it. A little too fast, and then this. Not too bad, but it's a little slow. If you get too wide, it's not terrible, but when you get too slow like that, it starts kind of losing its effect. I like it about like this, to be honest with you. I think it sounds good about right here. Slow that down a little bit, but anywhere in that area. I like that sound. So I'm going to turn the tremolo off. Now I'm going to go over to my delay pedal. I'm going to hit the Strymon Brigadier. And it's pretty, like, you know, not what you want on this. I want it to kind of be like a tape delay where it's kind of just, you know, the initial attack that you're getting is from the guitar. And then the delay kind of tails off in the background. What you don't want is this, unless you're doing something specific. You don't want the... Unless I'm doing something really specific as a super obvious effect, I don't want the delay attack to be louder than my initial guitar attack. So I'm going to back that off to about 10 o'clock, to where it's still there. Get that idea of what I'm doing there, you know. It's an effect, so it's not clouding a lot of the notes up a little bit, but it's giving you some inspiration to maybe, you know. mistakes. So I hope that covers some stuff for you there, folks. I said I was going to get to the Telecaster. That might be another video. We're making movies, folks. Anyway, thank you so much. Check the links below for lessons and all that stuff. And man, looking forward to getting back to it here and getting my chops back up for the video stuff. Lots of stuff to cover and lots of questions that have inspired a lot of things. So thanks a bunch, friends. Looking forward to the next one. See ya.